Tom Brady changes the way we think about the age of our quarterbacks with our teams. Russell Wilson turned 33 yesterday. I don't know if he's thinking about his NFL clock here, but he probably does, should. And that championship window, is it 10 years more? He's already showed impatience with the Seahawks over the summer. Again, keep in mind, Seattle was 12-4 last year, playoff season. They fell to Washington last night by 2. Seattle's now 3-8. The Jets are 3-8. Wilson has failed to get back into a groove. He's still battling that finger injury, but last night thought it was going to be one of those typical Russ comeback rallies, final minute, but the Seahawks came up short. I don't know how much of this is Russ. I don't know if it's Pete Carroll, the coaching staff, all the above. What has changed since a year ago? Year ago, 12-4. First half of the season, hey, let Russ cook. He's an MVP candidate for a guy who's never gotten an MVP vote. But, I mean, it feels like longer than 14 months ago. The Legion of Boom days are gone. And now you got some real serious questions. And I brought this up prior to the result last night because it's a standalone game and everybody has a referendum on Russell Wilson. I told you this yesterday. I don't see Russ playing in Seattle next season. And I think there are different scenarios that can come up. Russ has a no trade. Maybe a team is going to contact Russ's people and say, hey, would he be interested in coming here? Do you have a Matthew Stafford situation where you quietly talk to one another, player, agent, management, and then you say, you know what's best for both of us? And then you move in that direction. Because if you're a Seattle fan right now, what do you have? What do you really have? You do have Russ, and he can play at a high level for probably 5 more years. But you got DK Metcalf, who had 1 catch last night. Tyler Lockett, who I think is wonderful, but sometimes he just disappears. The running game is non-existent. Russ was unhappy with a 12-4 season. Imagine how he feels now. You're 3-8. He's having his worst season ever. This is a guy that you pencil in. You don't even use a pencil. You use pen, a Sharpie, for double-digit wins every single year. And now he's looking around, and he's further and further and further away from Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers, Patrick Mahomes. He's moving down the totem pole. I can't imagine that Russ is going to go, nope, I'm going to go Hawks. I'm going to stay here. I just don't see it happening. And I do think that those are the scenarios. If the Saints would reach out and say to Russ's agent, hey, I know he was on the short list. We were on the short list there. Would he be interested in the Saints? With the Giants or the Eagles, teams that have multiple first-round draft picks, you're going to have to give up a couple of those draft picks for Russ. But also, does Russ want to go to a team that is going to give up those draft picks for him? How much better are you going to be? It's a tricky situation. But watching last night, Russ is not healthy. He missed throws. He doesn't miss. But I do think that the frustration level on Russ's side will probably reach a crescendo prior to the end of the year. Because remember, he was frustrated a couple of days after the Super Bowl when he came on the show. Because he looked out on the field. He's the NFL Man of the Year, and he's miserable. You could see it. He's looking out and he's seeing Mahomes versus Brady, and he's going, we are nowhere near those teams. I can't get on the field. And he's so far away from a Super Bowl, even further than he was last year. I don't see this going past this season. Just don't. Now, maybe something happens. Does Pete Carroll step down? Is that enough for Russ to say, all right, I'll stay? What kind of coach are we bringing in here? Remember, Russ saw Tom Brady be empowered. Tom Brady was making decisions. And he thought, or is thinking, why don't I get to do that? Aaron Rodgers, why don't I get to do that? That's what happened. Tom Brady changed these quarterbacks in how they view where they get to sit at the table. Do they get a seat at the table? Brady got it. Well, Rodgers wants it. Well, Russ wants it. They all sort of won it, but Tom got it. Mahomes is in a situation where what they're paying him, they're probably going to go to him and say, hey, are you interested in us getting Josh Gordon? Okay. Or, hey, we're going to bolster the offensive line. Any thoughts here with any of these players? Okay. But I think Russ wanted to know, okay, I'm getting sacked more than any quarterback has ever been sacked in the first 10 years of his career. And he's probably saying, can I raise my hand here and be recognized? And that's why Seattle, the management was so upset when he came on this show. Because they were blindsided. But I don't think you can be blindsided. If you look around and you go, yeah, I think things are good. Russ cooks, and we're usually down by 4 in the fourth quarter, and we ask Russ to cook, and then, we win by 2. Oh, yeah, he gets sacked a lot, but hey, he plays every game. Like, they're probably not even thinking that way. It's like, you know what? We get Jamal Adams, we're back. Okay, maybe not. Let's give up a couple of first-round picks for Jamal Adams. But I do think Russ, his days of cooking in Seattle are probably only a few more months. Yes, Eden.
I like that Tom Brady opened the door for all of these quarterbacks to be like, hey, I want what Tom got. And I would imagine there were a lot of conversations that were like, yeah, but you're not Tom Brady. I know you want that, but you're not Tom Brady, so no.
Well, if Aaron Rodgers wasn't getting it, then you're not getting it. Like Aaron Rodgers said, can I get Randall Cobb, please? All right. Like, I don't know if Aaron said, I really, really want Odell Beckham. They went, we gave you Randall Cobb. That's enough. But quarterbacks, they want to have a voice here. And Russ is going to want to have maybe a bigger voice here. Because I was told after the interview by somebody who's with the team, let's wait and see what happens in free agency in the draft and see how Russ feels then. Like it felt like the team felt like they were going to, oh, this is going to be so great for Russ. He's not going to want to leave. He's going to be happy. They're 3-8. They're one of the worst teams in football. Yeah, McClellan.
Don't say the cupboard's bare, though. They do have the best punter in the NFL, Michael Dixon, arguably.
Okay.
He's an all-pro. Potential. Yeah. I even read he's a potential Hall of Fame punter.
Okay.
Can you build around that?
Can I build around the punter? Not many teams do, but okay. If you're building around your punter, wow, you're in trouble. Yes, McClellan.
Do they just start over in Seattle if Russell Wilson decides he'd rather be somewhere else?
Well, if you start over, then what's Pete Carroll do? Pete's the oldest coach in the league. He's turning 70. But do you steer Pete towards retirement, or just say, hey, look, we don't want to fire you. We want to go in a different direction? I don't know if you can do that to Pete. I don't know if Pete doesn't seem like, he doesn't act his age, but I don't know how much energy he's going to have can you do a rebuild in Seattle? That's what I think is the big question. And I don't know where their salary cap is or any of that. And what quarterback are you getting? And how much better are you going to be, or when are you going to get better? Because Arizona's young. The Rams have mortgaged everything to be all in. San Francisco is better than you, and maybe a playoff team this year. I think you got to look at where you stand in the division, really in the landscape of the NFC, and go, how good are we? Who are we? What is Seattle's identity? It's Pete Carroll and Russell Wilson. Or Russell Wilson and Pete Carroll. That's about it.